Virtual racing fans all around the world, good afternoon, good evening, or good morning, wherever you are in the world. And hopefully you have a good start to the week here as we roll down a Tuesday, getting ready to head into Hump Day, Wednesday. And so as always here on Virtual Auto Sports, we hope that we're making your Tuesday night perhaps suck a little bit less as we get ready to roll into weekday number 3. Mañana. But we've got plenty of racing action for you here tonight. Forza Motorsport 7, the Forza Spec Racing Series, week number 2 of Season 30. And because it's week number 2, here's something I want to get off my chest and make it perfectly clear here with the 15 minutes remaining before we go into green flag qualifying, is that if you didn't race in week number 1, you're still eligible. You can still contend for the championship here in Season 30. And what does all of that bring to you if you happen to walk away as the points leader at the end of all 9 races? Well, you get the bragging rights, of course, as all community-based racing leagues provide. But in addition to that, you get the option, or you have, I don't even know if you have an option. I think it's pretty much forced upon you to pick the car for the next season, in this case, season number 30. And as we are into our second week of season 30, well, next season would be season 31. As we are in the second week of season 30 here, Craytrim, who was the season 29 champion, has picked that 2005 Dodge SRT 4 ACR Neon. ACR being the American Club Racer abbreviation there. And this is a little sporty compact car that Dodge decided to go ahead and axe back in 2005. Later came out with the Dodge Caliber, which was not well received. And then, of course, we've seen recently the emergence of the Dodge Dart, which has already quickly been extinguished by Dodge as the SUV, the proliferation of SUVs continues on. And I suspect, and we had this conversation last time, I suspect that we will get to a point where the compact cars will return, and so will then the little. Some of you guys were calling them racer cars, Fast and the Furious-esque vehicles out on the streets. But this being an American car, I would maybe stay away from that designation and just say that, hey, some of these owners really love to doll up these cars and make them look faster than they really were. And that's exactly what we have here in Season 30, are a bunch of these Neons out there on the track, vying for position. Who's going to be the winner? Race after race, 263 horsepower. So the horsepower has been bumped up quite a bit here in these 2.4-liter inline-4 turbocharged engines. And so that with that comes a little bit more excitement there on the track, a little bit more speed. Though the cars are still front-wheel drive. There was no conversion to all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive for this series. And so that's made things very, very interesting. And as we talked to Mesosphere there in week number 1, he talked about that, hitting the throttle, and boom, you get a lot of tire spin, a lot of tire smoke. As a result, we saw that both across the first race out there at the Nürburgring, although a little bit less because of the fact that the Nürburgring is a big sprawling track, but then a lot more of that wheel spin there at Long Beach, the full circuit. Both races, Mesosphere, as you could tell there by the standings, Mesosphere was able to come out on top in both of those, and by a pretty substantial margin, too. I don't think there was any one race there, the Nürburgring or the Long Beach race, where the difference between him and second place was any shorter than 3, 4, maybe even 5 seconds. So quite a substantial gap there between Mesosphere and his closest competitors, with Craytrim currently in second with the points, Crimson in third, Audrex, Funtang, Iceman, Misfit, Slow Motion Fire, Proud Beetle, Gotta Go Fast, Fear the Fun, Born as Ghost, Popalock, and then you see there PJ Dude, Montalvo, Mr. Gimp, or Grimp, I should say, Modern Weapon, CMB Slipstream, and Presto Asbesto, a couple of drivers who did not compete last week, and so they're looking to pick up the points here in week number 2. And to that point I made a little bit earlier, is because there is a drop week here in the Forza Spec Racing Series, you can join in here in the next 12 minutes and still be in the running for the championship. Put your car together. I'll run through the prerequisites really, really quick here. It's that 2005 Dodge SRT4 ACR Neon. The car is ultimately going to be B-Class, 600 Performance Index, 263 horsepower, 286 foot-pounds of torque, and the vehicle will weigh still a hefty 2,600 pounds. Race exhaust, street engine block with the displacement as well, sport pistons and compression, race brakes, springs and dampers are of the race variety. Same goes for the front and the rear sway bars, race chassis reinforcement and roll cage, race weight reduction, race clutch, race differential, sport tire, compound. The specialized rim is a work design DH. Those are 18-inch rims, both in the front and the rear. And wrapped around those, again, being the sport tire compound, are 255 30s, both on the front and the back. Sport front bumper is the VIS Racing Sports Wings West wing on the back. VIS Racing Sports rear bumper and side skirts. No conversion in the drivetrain, in the engine, or in the aspiration. You keep that turbocharger in there, you keep that 2.4-liter inline 4 in there, and you keep it front-wheel drive. Of course, I just rattled out a bunch of requirements that you got to have for this car, but you can make it happen here in the next 11 minutes. I have faith in you. You can make it happen. Go over to reddit.com/r/FM4. Let me see if I can't get Nightbot to go ahead and drop that link for you in there. There you go. Nightbot has just dropped the link. Click on that. Go over to the Reddit channel. And yeah, throw that car together real quick and then join off of either my gamer tag, off of Cratrium, Foontang, Presto is Besto, Proud Beetle. If you've got any of those folks in your Xbox Live friends list, join off of them. And if you can't, then drop me a line here in the Twitch chat, and hopefully we can get you into that race. I see Slow Motion Fire in here, who is the race organizer. Unfortunately, not going to be able to participate here tonight. He's stuck at work, so Slow Motion Fire going to watch us from the sideline, the grandstands. Mesosphere with the hello. PJ, dude, good to see you back streaming, man. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing great, man. Thank you very much, and great to see you back, both here in the Twitch chat and out on the track. You're probably going to miss the first race, to be honest. Gotcha. Well, hopefully we'll see you for race number 2. And yes, that'll make it a little bit more difficult for PJ Dude to stay in the running for the championship. But hey, even if you're not in contention for the championship, the Forza Spec Racing Series is one of those series that you should definitely jump into if you want to get your foot in the door. You want to get your feet wet in terms of community-based organized racing. There are no prizes in terms of money or any other things that they can give you to compensate you for your participation. But what I can tell you, what you will get out of racing with this league is that they got a lot of great drivers, a diverse level of skill set, both in the speed and, of course, the passing ability and all that great stuff. So if you are looking to increase or hone your skill in Forza Motorsport 7, this is the opportunity to do so, especially now that we're about, maybe a year out from the next Forza Motorsport title. Hopefully, fingers crossed, if that happens with Project Scarlet, whatever that's ultimately going to be called. And then you can head into the new title with all these racers and get ready to see what they have in store on the new system, the new platform, the new title, all of that. So no prizes, just virtual street cred. Exactly, PJ Dude nailed it. And of course, like I'd mentioned, if you get the championship, if you're the leader in points after Season 30 has concluded, then you get to pick the car for Season 31. And with 700-plus vehicles to choose from here in Forza Motorsport 7, well, the world is your oyster. Currently in the lobby, and I'm not going to go ahead and flash over to it quite yet. We still got 8 minutes before things get kicked off, but we've got Cratrium, Joe Bearty. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Presto is Besto, Proud Beetle, and Audrex in the lobby. I know we had a few more drivers. Some seemingly have dropped out. Perhaps they have to get their cars maybe tuned up or adjusted, and it's much easier to do that maybe in the single-player lobby than in the multiplayer. So I suspect we'll get more of the drivers jumping in here. But as we continue to look at the storyline, the question ultimately is going to be, who is going to be able to take down Mesosphere? Mesosphere has not yet won a championship here in the 30 seasons that the Forza Spec Racing Series has been around. Granted, Mesosphere has only been around for, I think, 3 or 4 of those. And in a few of those instances, he had some bad luck with some disconnects. There was one race that we saw out at Maple Valley where he had a terrible collision with some of the other cars out there on the track. And unfortunately, that put him out of the running for the championship, although he was very, very close. So not out of the running by a large margin, but just enough that he was unable to come away with the championship. Well, here's his time to shine in season 30 if he can make it happen and claim his first championship in FM4. Although he's got Craytrim and Crimson who are right there on him. Craytrim being the season 29 champion who put us into these Dodge Neons. He's going to try to make it back to back. And then Crimson, who's been feisty as all can be, unfortunately had some bad luck out there at Long Beach, if I remember correctly, or maybe it was Craytrim. It's the two C's there with the Craytrim and the Crimson that throw me off a little bit. I'm going to have to revert back to my my notes from last week, but those guys, without a doubt, will be going bumper to bumper, wheel to wheel at both of these races, for both of these races here tonight, which includes, again, the full circuit alternate version of Monza, which means that takes out the first and second turns there at Variante, and we'll proceed over to turn 3 at Curva Biasono, Curva Grande, as it's nicknamed. And so we'll do without that little kink there off the start-finish line, making things nice and exciting as they're able to get up to speed on the straightaway and head into that first big-time sweeping right-hander. You got to be careful, though. Kitty litter on the outside. Audrex is close behind. Funtang, always a formidable foe out there on the track for anybody who's looking to compete with him. He and Iceman Misfit, I think, had a couple of great battles there in week number 1. Slow Motion Fire finds himself currently running in 7th. Unfortunately, won't pick up any points here tonight. He'll have to try to make that up in week number 3, 4, and 5, which has the finale. And there you see Proud Beetle, who he talked to there in the pit lane, rounding out the top 8. And we would like to throw your name up here on the scoreboard. We want to see your name on here as well. So participate with FM4. I promise you're not going to regret it. And therefore, you should definitely head over to reddit.com/r/FM4. I'm going to have Nightbot go ahead and drop that link for you again there in the chat. Get signed up, participate. Even if you can't do it week to week, if you can only race maybe a couple of weeks here in the remaining 4 that we have, that's fine too. Get out here, get some experience, get familiarity with some of these other drivers out on the track, or perhaps you already have that familiarity. You just want to kind of start getting back into the groove in terms of Forza Motorsport 7. Maybe you've been away from community-based racing for a while. FM4 is a great place to start. Everybody driving the same car. It has the same upgrades applied to it. The difference being in the tuning and then, of course, the skill behind the wheel. But it doesn't matter if you're the fastest driver or the slowest driver. You are welcome here. Reddit.com/r/FM4. I'm seeing in Discord, it looks like the drivers have headed over to a new lobby, so I'm going to try to pull that up right quick so that I'm in the right spot here for tonight's broadcast, and that way we have no issues whatsoever with showing the action. We would not want that to happen. So give me 1 second while I do the logistical stuff behind the scenes here to make sure that we get into the right lobby. And then we'll be well on our way here for qualifying in week number 2, starting out at Monza, and again followed by Rio de Janeiro. And that's the Coast Loop Reverse, and that is an interesting track, although I think very suitable here for these Dodge Neons. So we look forward to that one here immediately following our first race tonight. And let me see here if I can just find somebody who is in the lobby that I can join off of. That would be great. If Modern Weapon is able to hear me now, please maybe send me an invite or follow me back here on Xbox Live. That way I can get into the lobby. Otherwise, I'm going to look for somebody else. Let's go to Mesosphere here. Looking for a join off of Mesosphere, if I can do that. I need a little help from my friends. Thank you there, Slow Motion Fire, making sure that Modern Weapon hits me up there. Fear the Fun was tonight's official Master of Practice ceremonies. I'm going to have to follow up on that one. I'm not entirely sure what that's all about, but hey, I'm curious. What's up there, GG Racing? Good to see you. We're just waiting to get into our lobby with the racing kicking off here. There we go. There's a join and jumping into the lobby, and I'll go ahead and flip over the screen here for you guys in a second once we are all loaded up, and I'm sure that everything is good. Slow Motion Fire says, oh, it's a very exclusive title. Well, I can't wait to hear about it. We'll chat with Fear the Fun perhaps after qualifying, as we always like to do here on Virtual Autosports. We'll talk to our drivers in the driver's spotlight in between the races and the qualifying session. And for those of you who are racers, and if you're in that FM4 Discord channel, you can head over then to the Queue for Interview section. That way you're able to participate in that interview process, which is always a blast. Just try to keep it family friendly. That's what we're about here on the broadcast. Family friendly. I know that keeps you from blurting out the expletives and all that good fun stuff, but that way we welcome folks of all ages and backgrounds and nationalities and interests, and that way they feel like they're in a place where they can enjoy some racing just like they would if they were watching the old racing on TV. 22 viewers in the FM7 category, 16 are here in this channel, says PJ. Well, thank you very much for the update there, PJ. I appreciate that. Good to see all the folks. And, of course, like I'd mentioned as we were getting things going here, beginning of the broadcast, do not feel shy don't feel shy and go ahead and say hello or something. Commentate, provide your own commentary, your own Discord in terms of what's happening on the track. Maybe you have thoughts on who's going to win tonight's races. Go throw that in there as well. As a matter of fact, we're going to get a poll running as soon as we get done with qualifying here. We'll get a poll going, and we'll get your guys' thoughts on who's going to take the win here in what is officially race number 3 of Season 30. Of course, we'll reference it as race 1 here for tonight. What's up there? Well, no, you guys are all the folks that have been chatting, but GG is in there saying, hey, how's everybody going? Cornering the market, says Slow Motion Fire. Yeah, we're really hitting that directory hard here in Forza Motorsport 7 on Virtual Autosports. Do I need my door card on my car to make it to race 2, says PJ Dude. So there are some rules and things that you need to know before heading into the FM4 races. Again, everything that you need to know is over there at reddit.com/r/FM4, although I think there might be a little bit of wiggle room if you need to be accommodated one way or another for whatever reason. That way they can get you out here on the track, and then maybe by next week have yourself all squared away and ready to go out there on the track. That way you're in line with the rules, the theme. There are themes with regards to the paint job so that everybody kind of has this consistent theme, although you can take that theme and do what you wish with it as long as you're within those parameters, but have fun, of course, and be within Xbox Live guidelines, and you'll be all good. But it's very exciting to see all the variety of paint jobs that our drivers like to put on these vehicles as we go from week to week. And perhaps maybe this year or maybe this season there wasn't actually a theme. Slow Motion Fire says, we'll give you a grace period there. So PJ Dude, he's okay for the week. He can get out there on the track and race as he is. Come as you are here in FM4. All right, so we're getting dangerously close to qualifying. We've got 12 drivers in the lobby to include Modern Weapon, Mesosphere, who is our season points leader at this point. Crimson, Fear the Fun, Slipstream, Foontang, I'll hang up here with the Twitch server, and hopefully that'll get resolved quickly. It looks like we've got a successful reconnection. If you guys can hear me, of course you can't, because you wouldn't have to do this if you could hear me. But you guys in the Twitch chat, let folks know that to refresh their broadcast, and that should bring them back up. A little bit of a glitch there in the server, and this happens from time to time. It must be on the Twitch side, because I have no issues whatsoever with the Forza server. So no problem there whatsoever. I know we do have a little bit of weather here in the southern central Texas region, south central Texas region, and perhaps maybe that's having a little bit of an impact on how things are going. But here comes Fear the Fun, heading up to turn 6. That's going to be Curve del Istmo, and then 7 down Curve del Sarglio. I'm butchering this Italian here, but I'm going to try the best I can. And there goes Fear the Fun now underneath the Ford Performance Bridge. Let's go ahead and throw some stats there underneath the map there in the bottom left-hand corner as drivers come across the line for their standing start lap, their out lap. we'll see the best time posted there in that best lap section beneath Fear the Fun's gamer tag. And as they go around for this first time and come back toward the start-finish line, then they'll start their first flying lap. For those of you who are unaware of how things happen here in Forza Motorsport 7, the virtual world of racing and qualifying, we can throw all the cars out there on the track simultaneously, and they can qualify without worrying about impeding each other. You'll notice, or you may notice as we look through some of these vehicles here, that the cars ghost each other as the driver approaches them. So you can drive right through a vehicle. As we'll see Presto is Besto. He's got Crimson back behind him, and behind him yet is going to be... Well, I thought maybe there was another driver behind them, but it is just Crimson and Presto's Besto, and there goes Crimson making the move on the inside, but ghosting right through the driver, and going to try to set his best time right now. Fear the Fun with a 2:03.0, and then next across the line will be Slipstream with a 2:03.0. Crimson with a flat 2 minutes and 0.2 of a second there. He'll currently have the fastest time, but again, we'll see what happens here with the first flying lap. Soul Motion Fire says, just Americanize it with go with Curvy 1, Curvy 2, etc. Yeah, there we go. That's a good way of doing it. And now we've lost connection to the lobby. So we'll have to go ahead and try to resuscitate that. Go take a look at those standings once again here, heading into week number 2, season 30. And I'm going to work quickly here to see if we can't get ourselves back into the lobby very, very fast. Perhaps there's just a hiccup. Again, a little bit of weather here in south central Texas. Maybe that's plaguing us. I know there was a severe thunderstorm in the area. And so hopefully we'll be able to make it through the evening here without much interruption. And if it all happens here during qualifying for the first race, then great. Fantastic. And so we're loading back up into the lobby. As soon as I can get into spectate mode, we will do so. Hear the tires, and there we go. We're back at it. Get those statistics there back in the lower left-hand corner for you. Audrex with a blistering time of quadruple zeros. Well, more than quadruple. Of course, those times are all botched now that we've fallen out of the lobby. So we'll go ahead and throw the stats off, and we'll just have to take a look at the lobby results once it's all said and done. Cratrian, Modern Weapon, down the way here toward Curva Parabolica, back toward the start-finish line. 11 corners here at Monza, 3.6-mile circuit. The first time this track appeared in the Forza franchise was here in Forza Motorsport 7. It's a little bit of an overcast day here, too, in Monza, Italy. As they go across the line, and right about now is when you would normally hit turn 1 and 2. You could kind of see the painted tarmac there where the drivers would hang a right and then a quick left at very slow speed, but they've removed that here in race number 3 of season 30, the Forza Spec Racing Series, and they'll blow right through it up to turn 3. And now here they come up to the chicane of 4 and 5. That's Variante della Roggia. Again, probably butchering the Italian here, but bear with me. Proud Beetle saying, got disconnected from qualifying. Guess who's starting at the back? Well, how far will Proud Beetle be able to make it up the ranks? We'll have to see. We'll have to see if he's able to turn that no qualifying into something, starting at the back of the pack. And yeah, a little bit of, you can rest assured that even if you don't fulfill qualifying, you don't make it all the way to the end, perhaps you get bad luck and disconnect, well, you can give it a shot in the race. You start at the back. But we've seen crazy things happen in the world of motorsport, both virtually and real world. So never count yourself out. Here's Left Twix. That's going to be Slipstream. And I'm trying to remember who Right Twix is. We need our drivers or our spectators in pit lane to inform me who is Right Bierte, and he's in the pit lane, oddly enough. I'm not sure what that's going to accomplish here. Born as Ghost is the right twig, says Slow Motion Fire. Well, there you go. Born as Ghost. We'll have to catch up with him. And actually, let's see if Born as Ghost is still out there qualifying. And actually, Born as Ghost is not out there at all. We did see Born as Ghost in the lobby earlier, so not entirely sure what happened to him, but maybe we'll see him here in the race. And that's pretty good, though. We've got 12 drivers, maybe close to 13, 14 by the time we get done with the end of the night. And again, if you're the least bit interested in taking part and being a part of organized racing here in the Forza community, head over to reddit.com/r/FM4. I'm going to go ahead and jump out because it looks like we were just stuck in the lobby there. Oh, they've got an end timer that has not ended yet. That's why. So we'll be sitting here for a little bit. Let's go ahead and take a look at those results, folks. And while we're doing that, a little word from our sponsors. All right, taking a look at the past results from qualifying out there at Monza. It looks like Fear the Fawn at a 2:03.9. Nothing close. Nothing compares there to Crimson at 154.3, however, at least in those first three spots. Then you jump up to a 156 with Presto as Besto. Mesosphere, our points leader with 100 at the top of the leaderboard right now with a 154.4. So he'll have to, he'll line up outside of... Gosh, it looks like he's going to be on row number 2 because they're in second, it appears to me. Just looking at the board real quick here, a 154.360 is going to be Cratrium on the pole. So Crimson opposite of him. Then Mesosphere there in position number 3. And then we've got a 156 of Celtic Warrior 57. Audrex at a 159.8. Unable to get underneath the 2-minute mark is Joe Bearty there at a 2:05.5. Modern Weapon at a 1:57.4. Proud Beetle, of course, we saw with that DNF, unable to set a best lap time. No drivers there in the queue for interview section, so we'll go ahead and jump out and get ready for the racing. Perhaps we'll speak to a couple of our drivers here at the conclusion of this one. The organizer is going to go ahead and get everything set up. Mesosphere saying, I hate Monza and Rio. So Mesosphere, a wonderful week for him. The week that he was looking forward to on the schedule here, week number 2. Things perhaps look a little bit brighter for him heading into week number 3. Go out to Laguna Seca, but of course, as soon as I say that, race number 6, the one that's teed up for that is going to be Virginia International Raceway, which throughout the Forza community has been kind of synonymous with people just kind of sighing in displeasure whenever that one comes up. And then after week number 3, heading into week number 4, it's Test Track Airfield, the very fun, exciting circuit that is, the fictional circuit of the Test Track Airfield between the hangars and up over humps and all that good stuff for race number 7. Daytona Sport Car Circuit to conclude conclude week 4 with race 8, the Sport Car Circuit out at Daytona in the dark. And then week 5, the finale, the 56 lapper there at the Yas Marina North Circuit. You just don't like nice things, Slow Motion Fire. Mesosphere predicting that this will be his drop week. I like both of those, so he's good. So Mesosphere looking forward to week number 3, but before you can get there, you got to get through week number 2. Looking here at the lobby, it looks like we maybe have picked up one extra driver. Celtic or Celtic Warrior 57 has gone ahead and readied up, so it looks like all our drivers are good. We're having all kinds of weird anomalies. We've got drivatars that are like ghosted with no cars. So hopefully everything will be okay here through the remainder of the broadcast. I like VIR mostly because a lot of people don't. Love it when people fly off, says Proud Beetle. VIR, definitely one of those tracks you got to be very, very disciplined. Very disciplined. One just minor loss of focus, and you will find yourself on a mowing excursion like none other here in Forza Motorsport 7. And there we go. We've got the launch countdown. We're ready to race. Let me go ahead and flip it on over here for you guys. Race number 1 of week 2, or race 3 here in the season 30 schedule. It's 16 laps around Monza, the full circuit alternate, minus the first and second turns of Variante. And here we go, kick the tires and light the fires, and already off the start line, we've got a number of Forza logos, black screen indicating that there seems to be all kinds of connection issues, and I think we're going to be doing a restart. Oh, reverse grid. That was the problem. They set it up in reverse grid, so we'll get the organizers to go ahead and get things back in order here. These kinks need to be ironed out every once in a while when you don't have the same race host in the lobby here for the evening. Slow Motion Fire, who's typically handling logistics, is unable to participate tonight, so he can do nothing but watch from the sideline and laugh. So the organizer here tonight, I think Modern Weapon, will go ahead and flip that order around, and we'll give it another try here for race number 1. Proud Beetle says, "No, I like starting from the front." Tough luck. Tough luck, Proud Beetle. You had your shot there. Get disconnected from qualifying. Start out on the pole position. Would have been great, huh? And folks, while they get that all sorted out, thank you very much for tuning in. Virtual Auto Sports here live on Twitch TV. I'm Dustin Moore, broadcasting just a little bit south of the heart of Texas. Again, south central Texas. We got a little bit of weather coming through, so hopefully that doesn't interfere with the broadcast here tonight. But if it does, just bear with me and we'll get things going. But fingers crossed, knock on wood, all that great stuff, that we don't have any issues. We've got Mesosphere, who's trying to go back to back to back here in season number 30. Won both the races there, week number 1, out at the Nürburgring full circuit. That was the GP plus the Nordschleife, and out at Long Beach. So out there in the sprawling track of Nürburgring, then brought it a little bit more claustrophobic like there at Long Beach, and was able to take a win in both races, and now is going to try to make it happen for a third time in season 30 here at Monza. We've got the countdown once again. We're going to give it a go. See what we can make happen here this go around. Yep, set view. That's good. Sure. Oh, things are a little bit wonky here tonight. We're making the most of it though. And again, yeah, I do appreciate y'all tuning in. It's good to be back here on Twitch. Although not fully back. We're not doing the Thursday or the Sunday thing, but here with the FM4 community and you all here on Twitch. Happy to do it. And here we go. Kick the tires, light the fires. 16 laps here at Monza, week number 2, race number 1. And right off the bat, it's going to be Cratrium and Crimson side by side, door panel to door panel. And look at that, we've got the cars that are remaining in their column fashion here before they go single file, or maybe they're going to maintain that door panel to door panel heading into turn number 3, Curva Biesiano. And it's going to be Crimson who's still out there in front in the Rich Energy Dodge Neon, the AC4 SRT, or the ACR SRT4. Again, all the drivers running in the same vehicle configuration, although they can do the tuning to their liking. And Crimson, he's going to jump out there with about a car and a half length lead. Back behind him, it's still, well, actually, no, Mesosphere has jumped up a position. It's going to be Cratrium down to 3rd, Foontang up to 4th, Modern Weapon in 5th, Presto is Besto in 6th. Let's go to Modern Weapon there in 5th position. Oh, and Modern Weapon's going to run wide. I warned you. You're going to have that kitty litter to the outside, not only in turn number 3, but also here on 7, Curva dell'Esmo. And now down the back straightaway they'll go. Modern Weapon dropping back to 13th position. Let's quickly, I'm going through the clicks as fast as I can. Up here to 4th position. Back behind him, it's going to be Foontang in that magenta NVIDIA car. And Cratrium there in 3rd. As they go over the humps here at Variante Ascari up to turn 11, Parabolica. And here they go to that right-hander. You got a little bit more runoff room here through this sector, but then you bring it back toward the start-finish line and pedal to the metal, all 263 horsepower, chirping through that SRT4's 2.4-liter inline 4. Turbocharged car, 263 horsepower, 286 foot-pounds of torque, muscling 2,600 pounds of metal down the track here in Monza, Italy. And there goes Krejcim now in third with Funtang dropping back a little bit in fourth position. Back behind him, it's going to be Celtic Warrior in fifth, Audrex in sixth, Presto in seventh, Fear the Fawn in eighth, ninth is Proud Beetle, Slipstream in 10th, PJ Dude from the TFX team in 11th position, Joe Bearty. They're showing up for the first time here in the FM4 Series in 12th. 13th is Modern Weapon. We saw him go off the track there through turn 7. He's going to try to make a recovery here and move his way up through the field, although that's going to have to be a hard charge, as he is the caboose here on this long train of cars. And there they go back through turn number 6 once again, coming up to 7. This is where Modern Weapon made his mistake, but everything looking nice and tidy. Krejcim now trying to chase down Mesosphere and our race leader of Crimson. Crimson looking to eke out some extra points here in week number 2 to try to climb up the leaderboard. We'll take a look at that leaderboard after this race has completed. And a reminder that there is a drop week here in FM4. Of the 5 weeks, they take your top 4 weeks, and that's what then compiles your pointage. And the driver with the most points wins the championship and gets vehicle picking rights going into season number 31. There's Audrex in the predictable AMD Risen car, heading down the long straightaway between turn 10 and 11. Again, a nice overcast day here at Monza, Italy. No rain expected, no rain to fall whatsoever here on this track tonight. Let's go back up there to third position. Let's hop on board with Krejcim, who's still back there behind Mesosphere. As they see those two battling out up ahead, let's actually go up there to Mesosphere, who is right there on the heels of Krejcim. Crimson, pardon me. Slow Motion Fire saying the turn 1 slide is real. Yeah, you've got a front wheel drive car with a considerable amount of horsepower, and you're trying to gun it through here. Keep as much momentum as possible, heading up to 4 and 5, Variante. And right underneath the bridge, that bridge pretty much your brake marker. There goes Mesosphere to the inside. He's going to run wide into 5, able to bring it back together, avoid the tire wall. And now Mesosphere is our new race leader here in race number 3, the first race here of week 2. Crimson right on his heels. That's allowed Krejcim to catch up, however. Let's see what Fuente is going to do as he starts to creep into the picture. And right there on the back of Mesosphere is Crimson, reminding him he didn't go too far. And now Crimson's going to go side by side down the back straightaway. He's going to look to the outside a little bit here as they go through that slight kink, not considered a corner there. And then they'll be up to 8, 9, and 10. Crimson's going to daringly go to the outside. Mesosphere is going to hold that inside line. And there they go. Sparks are flying. Crimson able to hold it onto the track, not going off into the dirt. That's good. And coming back out, able to keep it quite clean, although Mesosphere gets 2 tires off into the dirt. That's going to slow him down just enough that Crimson's going to get by. Not going to allow, actually it is going to be Krejcim who gets by for second position. So Mesosphere there, jumping up a position, then dropping back. 1 step forward, 2 steps back, unfortunately. Let's see if he's going to be able to make it happen here with about 14 laps still to go in this race of 16 here at Monza. DWM Frog saying great battle, and it is indeed. We're watching on board here with Mesosphere. Now as the 2 C's, Krejcim and Crimson, duke it out first and second. One's got the Rich Energy paint scheme, and the other one's got a, I think it's like white, and it's the same emblem there for the Rich Energy Company. And now they go through 4 and 5. Mesosphere making up a great deal of distance heading into 4 and able to come out of it quite well, set up nicely here for 6 and 7. Hugs the apex. Krejcim running the middle line through 6. Now let's see what happens on 7. They tap the curbing there, Get the two wheels perhaps a little bit airborne, but bring it back down ever so quickly. 2,600 pounds pushing that car to the ground pretty easily. You don't get the same amount of air that you might get in one of the lighter GT cars. These Dodge Neons, again, 2,600 pounds, race exhaust, race engine block and displacement, sport pistons and compression, race brakes, race springs and dampers, race front and rear sway bars, race chassis reinforcement and roll cage, race weight reduction, race clutch, race differential, and we'll get to the rest of it here a little bit later on. But yes, we've got Mesosphere here in third position. We continue to ride on board with him. We'll go back into replay mode here. Fuateng in fourth, Audrex in fifth. That looks to be a good battle forming here, with Audrex closing in on Fuateng, who gets a little bit wide there through turn 11. Parabolica, Audrex. Let's see if he's going to be able to make the pass. It's NVIDIA versus AMD as they come back up to the start-finish line. Down the stretch they come for the start of lap number 5. Back behind them there in sixth position, licking his chops is Fear the Fun. Let's see if he's going to be able to come out with a top 5 finish. Great battles happening here early on in week number 2. Back in 7th is Slipstream all by himself. Proud Beetle in 8th, Celtic Warrior there in 9th position. Joe Bearty in 10th, Modern Weapon in 11th. He has made a recovery up 2 positions. Presto's Besto back there in 12th. And PJ Dude, unfortunately, there in 13th. What a great race we're having out here. I know Slow Motion Fire just wishing he could be a part of it. Not to put salt into the wound, but man, we miss you out here, Slow Motion Fire. And hopefully we'll pick him back up here in week number 3. If you want to participate with these folks, you see the link down below or the web address, reddit.com/r/FN4. Get out here on the track, have some fun, show your skill, and improve your skill week after week. And even though you won't be in the running for the championship here in Season 30, no better time than the present to get some familiarity and get ready for things in season number 31. Back down the what I'm going to call the back straightaway, although there are 2 of them, Curva del Sergilio. Man, I know I'm saying it worse and worse every time I come around it. But look at this. 4th, 5th, and 6th closing in. 3 cars. Audrex there in 4th. Fuateng in 5th. Fear the Fun. He's cranking it there in 6th position. Sport Tire Compound, work design DH 18-inch rims with those Sport Tire compounds wrapped around at a 255/30 spec. Sport front bumper is the VIS Racing Sports. Wings West wing there on the back end. VIS Racing Sport bumper, rear bumper, and side skirts. Across the line they come, up there in first. It's still Crimson. Mesosphere has now moved up and around Cratrim. Let's go to Cratrim there in 3rd position as they're single file past the flag stand. Slow Motion Fire emoting that he is shaking his fist at me. TTV Cart, thank you very much for the follow. Vordon, thank you. Sir Mighty, THD Reckless, and Overmeister. I know a couple of those came from last week, but thank you all very much for the follow. If you're enjoying the action, please click that follow button. Lets me know as the broadcaster that you are indeed enjoying the action. Virtual Auto Sports, I'm Dustin Moore, broadcasting to you here live on Twitch. Forza Motorsport 7, both for the PC and the Xbox One, and the Forza Spec Racing Series. They're in their 30th season. All of this stemming from the Forza Motorsport 4 days. So these guys are long running, but by no means exclude any of you newcomers, any of you who are interested in getting involved in community-based racing. We'd love to see you out here on the track. There goes Crimson, leading the pack of 3 down the back straightaway, and then a little bit further back, it is still going to be Audrex, Fear the Fun, who has now made a move around Fuateng. Let's go to Fear the Fun, and I know Fear the Fun's going to be saying, "You missed my pass! You missed it!" There he goes with the Taco Bell car underneath the Michelin Bridge. Fuateng's going to try to make that position back. And up over the curbing they go, and a little bit more air underneath the driver's side tires there through 4 and 5, then through 8 and 9, then bring it out of turn 10. Another long straightaway here, able to see how much speed they're able to get out of these cars. Joe Beardy showing there at a 161 miles per hour top speed. Here comes Fuateng. Fuateng gave up a position earlier running wide here through Parabolica. Now he's going to run through the inside line around Fear the Fun. They now are going to go side by side up to the flag stand for the beginning of lap number 7. Soul Motion Fire, exclamation mark FM4. Exclamation mark FM4 is the command for Mr. Nightbot. There you go. And now they come through corner number 3, which is actually turn 1 for us here on the alternate version, Curva Biasiano. And now up to the chicane. Funtang going to be able to hold on to it. Put in the blocks there on Fear the Fun. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's happening here in our top 3. Mesosphere holding on to second with Cratering back behind him in third. Crimson now establishing a substantial lead. If he can hold on to that for the next, 7 laps, he'll be good to go. In this 16-lapper, yes, lap 17 there is going to be a cooldown lap, so make note of that. And here comes Mesosphere into 8, 9, and 10, and looking very nice and tidy. So whatever it was that had him giving up a few positions a couple of laps back, he looks like he's nice and composed now, perhaps because he's got a good car length gap between he and Cratrim at this point, although you can't get too relaxed. And here comes Cratrim closing in on him. You got a couple of American drivers with the UK represented there with Mesosphere. Let's see if Mesosphere is going to be able to pull out a third win, a back-to-back-to-back win here in week number 2, or in season 30. Kicking things off right in week number 2. Slow Motion Fire says, I'm learning. You're good, man. You're good. Usually you're on the race side, so you don't have to worry about the commands. But I appreciate you helping me out there in the Twitch chat. For all of you who are watching out there, say hello to us. I'd like to get your thoughts on the race. I know we said that we were going to have a poll, but because of some of the hiccups at on the logistics side of things, I thought it best not to go ahead and have that poll going. But we'll try to make it happen here in between race number 1 and 2 of tonight's action. Goes Mesosphere, Cratrim now up over the curbing of 4 and 5. Back up to 6 and 7. And so we'll let that one be for right now. Audrex in 4th. Funtang has now moved back up to 5th with Fear the Fun. Oh no, Fear the Fun in the Dirty South Racing Taco Bell car. Drops back out of the top 5, and maybe he wanted to. Maybe he did that purposefully so I can bring the camera back to him and he can make a move around Funtang. I doubt it, though. I highly doubt it. Back behind Fear the Fun by a pretty good margin is Slipstream in 7th, but Slipstream is making his way back up through the pack here. So we'll see if he's able to make a run at 6th and 5th in the remaining laps. There goes Fear the Fun making a daring move. Perhaps getting 4 tires up onto the curbing there. And comes back out on the runoff area, and he's going to go single file, get that draft going. That Slipstream there on Funtang's car. Looking ahead at Parabolica, it's still going to be Crimson out in front. Mesosphere in 2nd, Cratrim in 3rd. Audrex now with a little bit of breathing room between he and 5th and 6th. What's up there, Dino Dad Shadow DDS? Make sure you guys are following Dino Dad Shadow here on Twitch. Streams a heck of a lot more than I do, so if you're looking for more racing action, not only here in Forza Motorsport 7, but he's been doing some iRacing stuff, and he plays some other games too. A variety of games. Catch Dino Dad Shadow here on Twitch. Just click on his name there and make sure you give him a follow. Curva Grande, turn 3. Here comes Fear the Fun looking to the inside. He's going to peek here on Funtang. That's not going to set him up nicely here for 4 and 5, but we'll see if he can make it happen. Oh, and Funtang not turning in as quickly as Fear the Fun anticipated. And so he got a little bit of a bump there on the driver's side door panel. They're looking okay, coming up out of 5 up to 6. And they're still side by side. Fear the Fun making the pass. Well done. Well done by Fear the Fun, although the exchange that these two, and there goes Fear the Fun a little bit forward to the inside, knocking over the Ford Performance signage there. Battle that these two have been having, I wouldn't say that, don't guarantee that this is going to be the finishing position between these two by any means. Let's go back up to 3rd position with Cratrim, who's trying to reclaim a spot there from Mesosphere. And he has fallen back quite a bit. Audrex closing in. Let's go back to Funtang in 6th. Glad to see me back. Oh, thank you there, Dino Dad Shadow. I appreciate that. Good to be back on Tuesdays, not Thursdays or Sundays. But I'm very happy to be back with these folks here in the FM4 Forza Spec Racing Series. And there goes Funtang now, claiming 5th back. Who's ultimately going to come away with the top 5, the 5th and final position of the top 5 here in this race out at Monza? They've got another 7 laps to go, beginning of lap number 10 here. Lap 17 will be the cool-down lap. And Graytrim, yes, he is still back behind. The battle there, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, not as close as it was. However, Mesosphere and Crimson will continue to wage that war, and this is a beaut of a battle here. Funtang, Fear the Fun, 5th and 6th. Here they come up to 4 and 5. Once again, Fear the Fun's now going to take the inside line. They were opposite last time by. And Fear the Fun running way wide, and there they go. Funtang hard on the accelerator. These front-wheel drive, 263 horsepower ACR Neons. And that that meshing of the throttle is what generates the tire smoke. And there goes Fear the Fun bumping into the wall, and that slows him up greatly. And that's going to allow Slipstream, who is on a tear here, to close in. Exciting stuff here on a Tuesday night. Let's return there to 2nd position with Mesosphere. And we'll take a look there at that battle between Funtang and Fear on the Virtual Autosports instant replay. There's the quick acceleration and tire smoke from Funtang, and then we'll see here Fear the Fun tapping the guardrail there heading into turn 6. Back out onto the straightaway, Crimson, Mesosphere, 1 and 2 respectively across the line, beginning of a lap 11 here at Monza, the full alternate circuit, 3.6 miles for race number 3. Crimson trying to put an end to Mesosphere's early terror here in Season 30. If Crimson can come away with the win, that'll yield him 50 points to Mesosphere's 47, assuming Mesosphere finishes in 2nd. Then from there, it's 45 points to 3rd, 43 points to 4th, 5th gets 40, and that battle between 5th and 6th is pretty substantial because 5th getting 40 and 6th getting 36, that 4-point drop-off can mean all the difference there on the overall leaderboard. Of course, there is a drop week here in FM4, the Forza Spec Racing Series, and that means the week in which you have the lowest amount of points, they'll drop that, and it'll take your top 4 performing weeks to determine your overall championship points. Crimson, Mesosphere, Cratrium, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Audrex in 4th, Funtang in 5th. And let's go to Fear the Fun there in 6th as those guys continue to battle out now with Slipstream getting ever so close there in the Twix car. He's Twix left. Born as Ghost is Twix right, who unfortunately is not out on the track here tonight. Funtang running wide, coming out of turn 11, Parabolica, Fear the Fun, allowing him to close in a little bit as we are now running on board here with CMB Slipstream. He was much closer to Fear the Fun than this before they went into turn 11, so he's fallen off the pace a little bit. Let's see if he's going to be able to close it back in here on turn 3. Or turn 1 for our purposes as Fear the Fun and Funtang maybe battling it out will slow each other down. What's up there, Ether and Hunt? Ether Hunt coming in with the 100 bits. Thank you very much there, Ether. Good to see you again. And Slipstream, perhaps maybe a little bit too far into the apex there. Through 4 and 5. Looking to close that gap. Here comes Fear the Font to the inside of Funtang. Those guys have been switching lines all throughout the race, and there goes Slipstream off into the dirt. He just barely got the 2 driver's side tires into the sand, and as you know here in Forza Motorsport 7, that's a grave mistake. It'll slow you down very, very quickly. Sticky sand. Sticky sand. Back up to 8, 9, and 10. Variante Ascari underneath the Audi Sport signage. There you see that left Twix hashtag there on the back bumper of Slipstream's car. Yeah, Slipstream wants it bad, as Slow Motion Fire is alluding to there in the pit lane, the Twitch chat as it's otherwise known in the Twitch community. And here comes Fear the Fun now looking to the inside once again on Funtang. And let's go ahead and jump up there to Fear the Fun. I know he's going to want us to capture a pass on the broadcast, so we'll make every effort to do so. Currently in first, it is still Crimson, although Mesosphere is right there on him. Let's go to Mesosphere real quick. We don't want to pass up this battle for first. As we're on lap 30, and there goes Mesosphere into the back end of Crimson. That pushes Crimson out wide a little bit, and I think Mesosphere led off ever so slightly to give Crimson a little bit of breathing room, and now accelerates back into turn 6, and there he goes looking to the inside, making all the room, taking advantage of all the room he can possibly get there heading into turn 6. Now over 7, he has a little bit more there with some curbing, and they'll go side by side underneath the Ford Performance Bridge, door to door, tire to tire, wheel to wheel, bumper to bumper. Slow Motion Fire is saying if he rushes, he might be able to make it to race 2. That would be exciting. Get another driver out here on the track. There goes Mesosphere. Oh my gosh. What phenomenal composure for those 2 drivers, able to hold it through the chicane of 8, 9, and 10. And both drivers able to merge out of that one without any incident. And now they're back into single file here through Parabolica. Well done. And unfortunately for Crimson, that means he's going to have to try to find a way around Mesosphere here in the remaining, it's going to be 3 laps here as they cross the line for the start of 14 in this 16-lap race. Back to Fear the Fun and Funtang, who are now just crossing the line here, 5th and 6th, and wouldn't you know, Slipstream right there in 7th position. Let's hop back on board with Slipstream. He's got the hot cam here for tonight. He's giving us the view that we're looking for. The crackling of the exhaust here in the front-wheel drive ACR SRT Dodge Neon. Fear the Fun, peering to the inside. Funtang again, late to turn in, and that allowed Fear the Fun to go ahead and make a move, and now looks like they may be three wide coming up to 6. Let's go ahead and pull the camera out, and indeed they are. And now they're going to go single file into 6. Let's see what happens here going into 7. It's going to be Fear the Fun to the inside of Funtang. Careful, boys, careful. Back out on the straightaway. Funtang still in 5th. Fear the Fun in 6th. And now he drops back. Slipstream makes a move up to 6th position. Oh, incredible stuff. Fear the Fun trying to make it happen there. Curva del Esmo. And that's what happens. You try to make a move for one spot, and you might just fall back too. Ask Mesosphere. It happened to him earlier. And now they're going to be 5, 6, and 7. Funtang, Slipstream, Fear the Fun. Incredible race here tonight. Some of the best racing you'll find here in Forza Motorsport 7 on a Tuesday night. I'll put that little asterisk on it there on a Tuesday night. Plenty of great racing throughout the Forza community, but we're having a good chunk of it, a nice share of it here, and a nice little message there on Slipstream's car saying, welcome back, Dustin. I appreciate that. And let's go ahead and take a look at that replay there. All kinds of great side-by-side racing. 3 wide there for an instance coming out of 5. And now they're going to go side-by-side here. Slipstream and Fear the Fun. And back into single file mode. Incredible. Mesosphere in first. Crimson, we're going to have to jump up to that here in a little bit. In second, Kraystream there in third. He's trying to close in. Audrex on his own little racing island there in fourth. If he finishes there, I think he'll appreciate that one. Futang in fifth. Fear the Fun in sixth. And now he falls to seventh with Slipstream able to reclaim sixth. So these guys keep shuffling through positions here as they come back out of 7 for lap number 15. Incredible stuff. Can't wait to talk to some of these drivers coming out of this race. If you can read this bump draft me, says Slipstream's rear bumper sticker. Love the humor. These guys have an Ogros Fear the Fun. Perhaps corner cutting a little bit too much there. The Forza race regulations not turned on here in the Forza Spec Racing Series, but maybe the organizers will give Fear the Fun a little bit of a slap on the wrist saying, hey, watch yourself there. We know you want to be back in this battle for 4th and 5th, but don't exceed race track limits here. And Slipstream is going to go wide now through Parabolica. Our race leaders, Mesosphere and Crimson, coming across the line for the white flag. Let's go back to those two, as Crimson now is going to try to make an effort to get around Mesosphere and claim 3 extra points. That's the difference between finishing first and second here in FM4. And of course, with Mesosphere, 2 wins in week number 1. The last thing that Crimson or Kraystream or Audrex or Funtang or Fear the Fun or any of our drivers here in season number 30 want to see is a back-to-back-to-back win by Mesosphere, who has yet to win a championship here in the Spec Racing Series. And so he is certainly looking for the 3 wins out the gate. But he's going to have to play some good defense here as they are about halfway through this final lap. Lap 17 will be a cool down. Here comes Crimson looking to the outside, heading into 8. Svelianti Ascari for the final time here tonight. Crimson right there on the back bumper, no room as Mesosphere closes any opportunity. No doors of opportunity there for Crimson. And let's see as they go into the final corner. RBM Stance, thank you for that follow. Good to see you here on a Tuesday night. Hopefully we're making your Tuesday night a little bit less. Go into hump day. Crimson, you see the sparks flying. He's pushing. He's doing all he can. And here comes Crimson to the inside, but there goes Mesosphere. Once again, closing the door, making that one little lane change, that driving line change, and that's going to be okay. That's golden. He's good. Mesosphere with the win here in season number 30, race number 2, back to 4th position. It's going to be Audrex. And let's go quickly back to 5th and 6th and 7th. It's going to be Fear the Fun, who's back behind Slipstream, who's in 5th. Is he going to be able to make a move? Nope. It's going to be Slipstream for 5th, Fear the Fun in 6th, Futang in 7th, and now we go back to Celtic Warrior in 8th. Let's see if he's going to be able to come away with that finish. Looks like he should be able to. Proud Beetle back there in 9th. Joe Beardy in 10th. Presto in 11th. Modern Weapon in 12th. PJ Dude, unfortunately, back there in 13th position. Yeah, DWM Frog saying great racing tonight. Yeah, I know there was great racing toward the back, too. We just couldn't move our camera away from the top 7. As there was just so much going on. 9th goes to Proud Beetle. Joe Bearty there in 10th. Let's go to Modern Weapon, who's maybe trying to make a move. Nope, not going to make it happen here as they cross the line Presto in 11th, Modern in 12th, PJ Dude back there in 13th position. Folks, we'll go ahead and take to the driver's spotlight when we return. A little word from our advertisers. For those of you who received an ad, we welcome you back here. Forza Motorsport Spec Racing Series. Week number 2, race number 1 has concluded, and we take a look there at the standings heading in to week number 2. It was Mesosphere who was at the top, and he's going to garner another 50 points coming out of race number 3 here. Cratrium in second initially coming into week number 2 there with 92 points. Crimson with 90, and again, the drop week rule is in effect as always here in FM4. So you can't necessarily gather much from this until we've made our way toward that finale there in week number 5. And here comes Mesosphere doing the victory lap with Crimson right behind him. Awesome battle between Mesosphere and Crimson all the way through. Unfortunately for Cratrium, just fell out of the picture. Unless I've got it backwards and it was Cratrium who finished second. I got to write these things down because I forget they do their cooldown lap and then they get themselves out of position and and then it throws me off. So that's a little bit of a new thing that they've been doing, at least what they've been doing as of late. And so I'm going to have to go ahead and annotate where these drivers finish as these races conclude before the cooldown lap. But Mesosphere most certainly our winner here tonight in the first race, and next is going to be the Rio de Janeiro Coast Loop Reverse Track. 34 laps out of that one. And if you know anything about Rio de Janeiro and Crimson going to go throw some signage there at Mesosphere as they make that final lap here. If you know anything about Rio de Janeiro, that track can be a tricky one, and the Coast Loop is no exception. We'll take a look at that one here during qualifying. I'm going to go ahead and show you the standings again heading into week number 2, and we're going to go ahead and get our poll set up. Let's see here. Let's make this race number 4 out at Rio. And we'll head on over to our driver spotlight as soon as the race has concluded. They're finishing up that cool down lap out at Monza. And let me make sure that the poll is all good to go, and then we'll get that up here shortly after we talk to some of our drivers, as we've got plenty of them who have joined us here in the driver's spotlight. Let's go pull our race winner in first and foremost. Mesosphere, back to back to back. I know you said you weren't liking the tracks here in week number 2, but what do you think of your start coming out of Monza?
I will say this. Monza, not my favorite track. That race, that was a lot of fun. Both myself, CT, Crimson, none of us drove perfectly. There were different mistakes everywhere. At one point, I was 2 seconds off the back. I think you missed that. And in the space of about 2-3 laps, managed to draft back past CT and catch back up again. It was just immense. That was super enjoyable. So I almost feel like taking back everything I've ever said about Monza, but I won't. Just one good race, though.
The key word there, you almost take it all back.
Almost. Well, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was a great deal of fun. And now we're going to head out to the Coast Loop Reverse Circuit of Rio. And this track is going to get tricky because not only is it going to be 34 laps around what is an imperfect circle, but then you're going to have to start contending with some of the lap traffic out here, undoubtedly. So what element does that bring into the race, and how do you deal with that?
That brings in patience and to some extent, commitment, because basically when you see an opening with the traffic, you kind of got to go for it. Otherwise, you're losing a lot of time to everyone around you. But you've got to weigh up the risks of that move. Say, for instance, going into have they are they likely to have seen you coming? Are you coming from so far back that they're not going to expect a move? That's just because you think you can hit that apex, they might not see you. So you've got to weigh up the risks versus reward with traffic. Working in traffic is definitely a skill, and whilst I hope it doesn't come too into play on this track because it's tight, narrow street circuit, when it does crop up, I'm hoping I'm up to the job.
Talking with Mesosphere here in the driver's spotlight, who has now won 3 straight here in season 30, looking to make it 4 in a row here as we head out to Rio de Janeiro. I know you've expressed your disdain, or you did there in week number 1 with the SRT ACR Neon. Are there any nuances or anything that you've picked up since week 1 that has helped you rein this car in a little bit more here in week number 2?
Not really. To be honest, the main thing at Monza was drafting. If you got out of the draft, then you could lose a lot of time. I have noticed though that I seem to be very good on the brakes compared to a few of the other guys. So I made up a lot of time at the first chicane, for instance, the heaviest braking zone. I could often make up 3 or 4 tenths just going into and out of that chicane. And that's where I made my move on Crimson, certainly early on in the race. So I'm finding myself doing very well on the braking, but I haven't really got any tricks for this. I just mash it, make lots of tire smoke, and hope it's fast enough out of the corner to do the job.
We'll see if it does the job indeed. Again, going for that 4th win out of the 4 races here in Season 30. Mesosphere, best of luck to you. We'll watch you here in qualifying and see where things sort out on the grid for the start of race number 4.
Looking forward to it.
All right, that's Mesosphere. Let's go ahead and quickly bring in Crimson. Crimson, please remind me, because my memory has failed me. I believe you finished there on the heels of Mesosphere in 2nd. Am I correct, or was that Cratrium?
I was less than 1/10 off of Mesosphere's.
Yeah, you guys exchanged position there for the lead a couple of times from what we saw with our camera. Of course, we had to drop back to 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and even back to 7th a couple of times with all the great racing that was happening out there. But man, what a battle! This Mesosphere guy, he's a tough one to bring down, huh?
Yeah, luckily White Bikes doesn't have the budget to attract Mesosphere. Otherwise, we'd be in trouble dealing with 2 of them.
Talking with Crimson here in the driver's spotlight. He's going to continue to bring the humor here for the white-sponsored car, Dodge Neon, all throughout the season, I'm guessing. Crimson, our second city circuit here in Season 30. We were out at Long Beach for race number 2. Then we went out to Monza, obviously, there for the first race of week number 2. And then now here we are at Rio de Janeiro, the fictional circuit. What does the variety of track surfaces bring to this race that we have not yet seen in the first 3?
Well, it makes the cars a little bit more predictable than a pure race surface would. And even something like Long Beach on North American streets is going to be vastly different to the Rio roads. These tend to be, I don't want to say rougher, they're more varied. Whereas the Long Beach ones were rough, but they were uniform throughout.
1.32 miles of alternating cobblestone and asphalt, and then you've got a couple of crazy chicanes in there. I asked Mesosphere how to deal with lap traffic, of course, as we get some of that showing up here in the 34 laps around Rio. You're going to have to deal with the not so great amount of passing space. So you're definitely in a situation where you're going to have to balance keeping up with whoever's out in front of you. Of course, you would prefer to be out in front, but if you find yourself behind, that balance of staying with the driver in front of you, but at the same time navigating around the cars that may show up intermittently.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be an issue. Luckily for the race, we've been given the go-ahead to run the walls instead of the proper chicanes. However, in qualifying, we're still bound to them, which will help open up some of that and make it a little more safe to overtake lap traffic. And again, I apologize for the cough.
No, that's fine. We like to keep it authentic and real here.
But mostly it's just going to be trying to catch him on the front straight or the back straight, and try your best not to get him in either of the hairpins.
Love that insight from Crimson, who's telling us that during qualifying, obviously, if you dirty your lap, you're going to fall down the grid order. So keeping it clean during qualifying is in order, but then being able to extend the track limits there during the race itself is approved. Crimson, best of luck to you here at qualifying at Rio.
Thank you, sir.
And let's quickly go to our last driver here in the driver's spotlight before we head out to Rio for qualifying. Slipstream, who was a big part of the great battle there for 4th, 5th, and 6th, and even 7th for a time, made your way up through the field, finishing 4th, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Sounds about right. I tell you, these cooldown laps, they throw me off every time once the order gets shuffled there. But man, can we expect that battle with Audrex, Foontang, Fear the Fun, and yourself to continue here in race number 2?
I hope so. This track, man, it's going to be tough to do any overtaking on, I think, unless you're doing it into like maybe turn 1. But yeah, that battle was amazing. I really messed myself up because my out lap was the only clean lap I did during qualifying, and then of course I had an off at Curva Grande on lap 1, and so I think I was dead last, and I was just driving my way through. It was a good time.
It was a good time indeed for you, and then of course for us as the viewers. Slipstream, I would ask you another question, but I know everybody's itching to do some qualifying, so we wish you the best, and we'll see what happens out here at Rio.
Thank you. We'll try to put on a show for you guys.
Awesome. We love getting a show with some great racing, and as we take a look here at the poll, you guys are picking Cratrium to come out with the win in this one. Behind Mesosphere and Crimson, no votes for Audrex or any other driver there. So if you'd like to cast your vote, all you got to do is type the number, although we're going to go ahead and throw it back on over to the race here as we get ready for that 3-lap qualifying session here at the Rio de Janeiro. Again, it's the Coast Loop Reverse Track, and you're going to see how crazy this circuit is once we get out there, as looks like it's going to be an evening time setting with some partly to mostly cloudy skies up ahead, but no chance for rain. As a matter of fact, we've got no rain in the forecast for any of the weeks here in season 30. So for the drivers who may already be struggling to deal with the front-wheel drive ACR Neon, well, the fact that it's dry conditions may make things a little bit more manageable for them. And here we go, loading up into that qualifying session. Proud Beetle saying me and Celtic had a nice battle going for a bit, so maybe we'll be able to check out Proud Beetle and Celtic here at this one in Rio. And again, because there's going to be so many laps on this short 1.32-mile circuit, about 8 corners, we are destined to see some lap traffic in this one, and it's going to be Audrex and Fear the Fun who are first off the line here in our qualifying session. Let's go up to Audrex there as he heads into corner 1. It's about 8 corners. There's no, because this is a fictional track, there is no official number of turns, but I'm counting 8 as they go through this city course. And here's where things bottleneck up a little bit. You see there with the guardrails on the side, you've got, it looks like 3 lanes to work with, but once you put 2 cars next to each other, it gets a bit hairy there, so you don't want to test anything. As Mesosphere and Crimson had mentioned, you do want to be a little bit careful with it. You've got to weigh the pros and cons of trying to pass somebody there, and then once you come back out along the coastline here, you've got a bit more room to work with, and already across the line they go. Let's throw the stats there into the lower left corner for you. Fear the Fun at a 58 second, then there comes Crimson at a 55 second lap. Mesosphere now at a 55.7. Appreciate y'all being here on a Tuesday night, or maybe it's an early Wednesday morning for you. Hope you're having a great week here as we are about midway through the month of October. Incredible. Heading into the holiday season, we'll take season 30 of the Forza Spec Racing Series all the way up to November 5th. with that finale out there at the Yas Marina North Circuit. That's going to be a good one. You don't want to miss that. Here comes Mesosphere and crew back up toward the start-finish line. That's going to be Audrex now crossing, and let's see, he's going to pull out a 53.115, and then next is going to be Crimson, and now Mesosphere with a 52.117. You hear the confetti cannon going off there in the background. A nice little sunset here. Rio de Janeiro course. A fictional track that emerged back in the Forza Motorsport 5 days. However, for those of you who joined me on the journey all the way back to the original Forza Motorsport title, you may remember the Rio de Janeiro track that existed back then. A much different iteration. It was a lot more level than this circuit is. However, the coastal course that we're on here tonight, not so much undulation and elevation, but if you were running the full circuit here, that's definitely not the case. You head up some hilly sections in through a tunnel underneath the mountain and all that, and a lot more claustrophobic sections. But here, we're going to keep it close to the coastline and pretty flat and level. Mesosphere now coming out of the hairpin on the final flying lap of qualifying, still sitting at a 52.117 as the quickest time. Behind him it looks to be Crimson Cratrium. Here comes the black screen. Hopefully we didn't lose anybody, and it appears we might have as we go back into the lobby. We'll go ahead and we'll just wait for things to sort themselves out here in the best lap or the previous race section, and let's wait until we see some checker flags here to indicate that the qualifying has completed. Just not having any luck here in the qualifying sessions. This is the second time that we've been booted from qualifying. And again, revisiting that viewer poll, you guys are picking Cratrium to beat Mesosphere and Crimson in this one. Type the number there in the chat for the driver who you think is going to be the winner here in week number 2, race number 4, or race number 2 for tonight, race number 4 in season 30. And actually that might have been the finale. So let's go ahead and take a look at those results. Audrex with a 53.115, Crimson at a 52.1. 52.117 for Mesosphere, so it looks like he's going to be on the pole position. We've got several 52s there with Futang at a 52.7, 52.6 for Slipstream, then a slew of 53s for Fear the Fun, Celtic Warrior, Modern Weapon, Presto is Besto. No dirty laps, so kudos to all the drivers keeping it clean there. And as Crimson told us, the organizers given us a little bit of, or have given the drivers a little bit of leeway in terms of the space that they can use on the track, extending those track limits here on the coastal course of Rio de Janeiro. Head back to the lobby here, make sure that we're in spectate mode, and let's see if there are any drivers looking to do any interviewing here in between qualifying and our race. 34 laps, 1.32 miles. Looks like our race organizers going ahead and making that alteration to the grid ordering, and barring any flubs this go around, we should be good for a nice clean start. As we saw there at Monza, though, if there are any issues at the start, they'll go ahead and regroup in the lobby and try it again. But keep our optimism hat on here that everything is good. Waiting for Celtic Warrior to go ahead and ready up. Joe Bearty. First time we've seen these gamer tags in the FN4 series, at least for as long as I've been broadcasting them. We did skip over Season 29. Got about halfway through Season 28. Season 28's winner was Salty Bonkos. Cratrium winning there in Season 29. He was the driver that picked 2005 Dodge SRT4 ACR Neon. And here we go, heading out to Rio de Janeiro for our final race of the night. All I can say is the brakes are going to be very toasty, says Proud Beetle. Yeah, we're going to see a lot of glowing disc brakes. Brake discs tonight. And there they go. Kick the tires and light the fires. You see all that tire smoke with 263 horsepower pumping through those front wheels and onto the asphalt. And around turn number 1 they come. Crimson out in front. Mesosphere out in front, Crimson in second, Slipstream in third, Cratrium there in fourth, and there goes Slipstream, going to run wide through the hairpin corner. Let's see if he's going to bring it back to the inside line. He does on the inside there of Cratrium, and now they're going to go not going to push it, too wide. Here through the interior section between the buildings and up over the humps they go, and there they go, kicking those red donuts out onto the circuit. That's going to maybe make things a little bit confusing for our drivers early on in the race here. It does provide a little bit of input to your controller or racing wheel when you hit one of those donuts, maybe just enough to throw your focus or your timing of your turn off. And looking back there, it looks like the pack has emerged relatively unscathed. Mesosphere now back out of lap number 1 for the start of lap number 2 into turn number 1 and going to go to 2. I'm going to count it 2 and 3 here through the hairpin. You've got kind of a flattened out section and you keep the wheel pointed to the left and then switch it on over to the right. As Crimson, Modern Weapon up to 3rd position. Good run by Modern. And then we see Presto as Besto in 4th, Foontang in 5th, 6th is Audrex, 7th is Joe Bearty, Cratrium way back there in 8th position, Fear the Fun in 9th, Proud Beetle in 10th, Slipstream, he too way back there in 11th position, Slow Motion Fire, who has joined the crew out here on the track in 12th, Celtic Warrior in 13th, PJ Dude. Unfortunately, it looks like he had to head into pit lane. He is way back there on the opposite end of the circuit in 14th position. Meza and Crimson back across the line, start of lap number 3. Crimson's going to go wide here through the hairpin. Look at that, Mesosphere able to do the switchback, the old switcheroo. Side by side momentarily. Now let's see what happens. Look at this jolt of a ride. You go over the hump there and then bring it back on that one, then the next one, and now you're setting yourself up for the left-hander. You got a little bit of curving there up onto the grass, and now back toward the start-finish line just that quick. Mesosphere continues to lead. Crimson in second. Let's go back to 4th with Audrex. Audrex, who's behind Presto's Besto. What a great run by Presto at this point, but Audrex looking to make the move, and he does across the line. And that AMP Risen car now finds itself in a podium spot. Back behind him in 5th is now Foontang, Cratrium in 6th, Modern Weapon in 7th. Slipstream has moved up, fortunately, to 8th. He's got some work cut out for him. Look out for that guardrail, and Foontang, I want to say slams into it, but I think he just kind of scrapes across it. You got to be careful. You will head into pit lane. They've got damage, simulation damage turned on, and look at this. It's like it's almost like a stadium truck configuration that we have here. Of course, much milder on the ramps, but the way they come hopping through the back half of the course here, eerily reminiscent of that, or maybe some rally racing here in these Dodge Neons. 263 horsepower at 286 foot-pounds of torque, 2,600 pounds of curved weight. And there goes Audrex running wide out of turn 1. That's going to allow, that's going to be Presto's Besto there. And Presto was way too hot going into turn 2 and 3. And so that puts him back into 4th. And now Foontang making a make a move. Looking to make a move is what I'm trying to say. Does. Up to 4th goes Foontang. Let's go back to Cratrium, who's there in 5th, and let's hop on to his hood view to see what the action looks like from his perspective. And actually, we'll drop back even one further. The Presto there in 6th, as he's got third, fourth, and fifth out in front of him. Across the line, beginning of lap 6. And you'll see they jump up onto the cobblestone. And it's not even cobblestone, it's like full-on slabs of stone. Big slabs, not cobblestone, big old slabs. And then you hop back onto the asphalt. And then you've got the cobblestones here on these. Oh, and there goes Presto off into the wall. And that's not the first time that we've seen Presto run a little bit wide. And so he'll pay for it, dropping back to 6th. And now Slipstream's going to move up the spot. Audrex also looking to make a move around Presto. Presto falls back 2 positions. Back up to 2nd with Crimson. The majority voted for Craytrim to win in this race. It's Crimson who's up there with Meza. It's Craytrim who's back in 4th. And look at this. Side by side, Crimson, Mesosphere, and for now it's going to be Mesosphere with the 1 over his name. Mesosphere is going to run a little bit wide, pushing Craytrim up to the guardrail, so he has no choice but to kind of pull off the accelerator. And now it's going to be Meza, Crimson, 1 and 2 once again at the beginning of lap number 8. Futang 3rd, Craytrim 4th, Presto in 5th. He's made his way around Audrex and Slipstream. Those guys keep exchanging positions lap after lap. Take a look at them coming here in through the hairpin. No, and there goes Slipstream on the back end into that rear driver's quarter panel of Audrex. Audrex able to regain his composure, and Slipstream, I think, acknowledging that he gave him a little bump, allowed Audrex to get sorted back out, and 6 and 7 they'll be, respectively, coming back into what I'm going to say is turn 8, the final corner, here on the coastal circuit, or coast full reverse, or coast loop reverse, I should say. Crimson in 2nd, Futang 3rd. Let's go to Craytrim in 4th. As they punt, one of the side skirts has fallen off one of the cars here, and there goes Futang running wide again out of turn 1, and that's going to allow Craytrim to scoot on by on the inside. So for those of you who voted for Craytrim to win this race, he's got a lot of distance, a lot of ground to cover here to catch back up to 2nd and 1st of Meza and Crimson, but he is making all the right moves at this point. Audrex 7th, Slipstream in 6th, Presto's Besto is making a great case here in this race, 5th place, and he's got a good 5 or 6 car length separation here as they cross the line at the beginning of their lap number 10. Team no practice hashtag on the backside of Presto's car, and no practice indeed. And as a matter of fact, this is the first time here in season 30 that Presto is picking up some points. A no-show in week number 1, and there goes Futang. His Futang damaged. He went into the wall, looked like quite hard, and yeah, I think he's got some damage to that vehicle. Oh yeah, big time. To the aero, to that passenger side suspension system and the brakes. So Futang, unfortunately, is going to have to find himself into pit lane here next time by. Let's go back up to, oh no. Wow. Let me see here. Mesosphere is riding solo up in 1st place. Where did Crimson go? Crimson falling back to 6th as he emerges from pit lane. So Crimson had to go in for repair. there would be no reason why he would need new tires or fuel. So Mesosphere, this is very dangerous for everybody who's trying to catch up with Mesosphere on the points leaderboard. They've left him out on his lonesome. Granted, he'll have to contend with lap traffic now very early on in this one, less than halfway through the race, this 34 lapper. But yeah, unfortunately Crimson has met some sort of demise that has put him back mid-pack now. Kraytrim in second. He is all by himself. Not even any lap traffic out in front of him, so great opportunity for Kraytrim to gain some ground, to churn some hot laps at this point. Presto and Besto in third. Presto is Besto in third. Slipstream in fourth. Let's go to Slipstream in fourth. And they've got Funtang, who now has come out of pit lane. We saw Funtang out of the hairpin run himself into the wall. It looked like it was something that was self-imposed. I didn't see any other car around Funtang that may have caused that. And so the demons that oftentimes rear their ugly head for Funtang, we've not. This is no stranger to Funtang in our broadcast. We've seen him have some unfortunate luck, and race number 2 here in week 2 is exactly that. So Meza now across the line for the beginning of lap 14. Kraytrim in second, and he is gaining ground, although you can see there I've highlighted Kraytrim on the track map in second, and then you see the one of Mesosphere going into the hairpin. So there is a lot of ground to make up, but if there was anybody who could do it, Kraytrim is the one. Presto in second. Let's go back to Slipstream in fourth. He's going to look to the inside here. Presto through turn 1, up underneath the overpass or the bridge of some sort there, and Presto is going to run wide once again. And there you go, Slipstream to the inside, able to do so through both corners there. 2 and 3 and 4, and now through the all the buildings around him. Presto, though, still right there behind him, and Funtang trying to make up the lap that he is down by at this point. Presto's Besto just not on point with the braking spots here in this one. Slow motion fire. Oh, we've got another car. It's going to be Modern Weapon. Modern Weapon, who seems to have gone into maybe one of the tire barriers. Yes, and Modern Weapon with some significant damage to his car is likely to point the front end into pit lane and get that patched up. And he actually drives right past the pit entry, so he's going to have to make another lap with that damage. Meza, Kraytrim, Presto, Slipstream. Presto has gotten back around Slipstream here, and Funtang is saying, hey, can you guys let me by? I'd like to get my lap back, please. But between these two, Presto and Slipstream, they're not willing to come off the accelerator at all as they vie for position. And, oh, be careful! Ooh, it looks like Presto may have closed the gap there for Slipstream, bringing Slipstream very close, dangerously close to the tires into pit entry. And fortunately, he didn't clip it. Otherwise, that would have been a disastrous situation, not only for Slipstream, but for Presto and Funtang, who has already dealt with his own issues early on in this race. Lap number 16, at least for Meza. These guys still on lap 15 here as they go jumping up over the curving sections here on Rio Coast Loop Full. Coast Loop Reverse. Born his Ghost, not out on the track, but here in the Twitch chat saying, go for it, Slips. That's his Twix mate. Born his Ghost is right Twix, and there you see hashtag left Twix. on the back of Slipstream's car. And now Slipstream's going to try to make a move to the inside as we see Presto. Wouldn't you know it, a little bit wide here through the hairpin. Back in 5th is Slow Motion Fire having a great run. Crimson up to 6th after having a pit stop, and there goes Presto! Having issues. And not entirely sure if he's got any damage to that car. We'll find out pretty quickly here if he points it into pit lane. No, he's going to keep it out on the track. And now Slow Motion Fire closing in. Here comes Crimson. Crimson, even though he had to go into pit lane, look at this. This very, obviously, he's determined at this point. Very determined to run. If he can grab himself a top 3 finish, that will be a Hard Charger Award nominee. Proud Beetle in 7th. Joe Beardy having a good run up in 8th. Fear the Fun in 9th. Celtic Warrior has dropped back a couple of positions to 10th. PJ Dude in 11th. Odge Rex, unfortunately, probably finding himself in the pit lane in 12th. Bootang in 13th. Modern Weapon in 14th. And I'm sure a lot of drivers are counting this one as their drop week, and we've got another driver into pit lane, and that is going to be Presto is Besto. Yeah, we saw the damage to his car, and then he went past pit lane, and we knew he would have to go in there at some point. Crisscross Applesauce! What's going on? Good to see you again. And all our viewers that are watching us here live on Twitch TV for week number 2 of Season 30, the Forza Motorsport Spec Racing Series. I'm Dustin Moore, broadcasting here on a Tuesday as we get ever so close to the end-of-year holidays, and a belated happy Thanksgiving to all of our residents up north in Canada. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving yesterday. Slow Motion Fire in 5th position. We'll keep our camera on him. He doesn't get very much camera time. But Slow Motion Fire looking to make this a good race, although this combined with a 0-point score in race number 1 because he was unable to participate due to some work stuff will mean that this is likely to be his drop week. So as good as he's doing right now, unfortunately it's going to be for naught when it's all said and done here in week number 2. Our race leader, Mesosphere, continues to dominate, dealing with lap traffic. Cratrian trying to reel him in, and he's doing a good job, but he's got his work cut out for him here in 34 laps with about half of that remaining. Slipstream in 3rd, Crimson in 4th, Slow Motion Fire, as we're seeing right now, in 5th. 6th is Proud Beetle, who's had his series of woes, both in running into the wall and going into pit lane, but then also just not being on the spot with braking. And we've heard Mesosphere talk about the braking in this car and how tricky and unpredictable it can be, and perhaps Presto just not ready for it coming off of Monza now here at the city course of Rio. Fear the Fun in 7th. Joe Beardy has moved up another 2 positions, once again to 8th. Presto is Besto in 9th. Celtic Warrior in 10th, and actually that's Celtic Warrior who's fallen back a couple of spots. So Celtic Warrior in 10th, Joe Beardy in 8th. So our top 5 kind of trying to recover from yet again another hiccup here with the broadcast, and we didn't have these issues back in week number 1, but we are certainly getting them here in week 2, and hopefully they'll get sorted out before we go into the last half of, the last race or last week of half number 1, and then into the second half of season 30. I saw, I don't know that you all saw it, but Joe Beardy getting into one of the tire walls. Let's see if our instant replay was able to capture that. This driver is just not having fun with these tire walls. And there goes Joe, flying, doing cartwheels through the air. Mesosphere continues to lead with Craytrim. Craytrim is getting closer, although he's got a couple of black traffic cars out in front of him. Slipstream in 3rd, Crimson in 4th. Slow Motion Fire still in 5th, Fear the Fun in 6th. He's lost Proud Beetle, who's dropped back a couple of spots, and now Proud Beetle out in front of our race leader, about to go a lap down. Presto's Besto there in 8th. What's up there, THD Reckless? Good to see you again. 2 straight weeks is Mr. Reckless. Thank you very much for your patronage of the broadcast. I would say probably about half the field has gone into pit lane at this point. Mesosphere, an exception. Same goes for Craytrim, who just unfortunately had to deal with a lot of traffic out the start. Of course, all of our drivers had to deal with traffic. Craytrim just not getting the better end of it, and now he's having to play catch-up. But you see Presto is Besto. Actually, he's got Celtic Warrior out in front of him in 9th, and then Presto a little bit further ahead. But I'm watching that 1 and 2 there in our map graphic in the lower left-hand corner. And the distance is closing in, but will he be able to make it happen here in the remaining 10 laps? Slipstream in 3rd, and now we've got a great battle between Slipstream and Crimson. As things would have it here in this crazy, crazy race. And there goes Futang, who was getting very close to the back end of Crimson's car. Futang a lap back from these two. Futang continues to search for a way around traffic. Crisscross Applesauce saying hello to Dino Dad Shadow, and THD Reckless saying, sorry I'm a bit late, I was doing some history homework. That's okay. Homework should come first, definitely. Priorities here. For all of you guys and gals are back into school, whether it be grade school or university. I know it's not something that you want to hear, but best to you here in the school season, and perhaps you got a break, maybe a fall break or the holiday break here in the next couple of months. We're headed to 2020 into a new decade. Crimson in 3rd, Slipstream in 4th. Crimson has just been on a tear after his misfortune earlier on in this race. So if Crimson finishes out in the top 3, I would call it a success. Unfortunately, Crimson and Craytrim look to yield a win to Mesosphere again, which would be back-to-back-to-back-to-back. First 4 races in season 30. We'll have 5 more races to make it happen here. For week 3, 4, 5. The finale there at Yas Marina. Let's go to Slipstream. The left Twix into the left-hander. See the waves crashing along the line there. Rio de Janeiro. This being a fictional track. 1.32 miles, about 8 corners or so. That's what I estimate. The driver is giving permission to go ahead and exceed track limits here in this one. Use all raceable surface, to include the little humps here on the curbing, as we'll see Slipstream approaching. downtown section. The city streets adorned with fans. Off to the side, and there goes another driver into the wall, and Slipstream fortunately able to make it through. I didn't catch who that was, but fortunately for Slipstream, he might have had a mild heart attack there for a second, but it did not affect his approach, or at least it didn't seem to. He may have come off the throttle slightly as he adjusted his line for that one, but he's able to maintain his fourth place position. Slow Motion Fire still running in fifth. And we've got another driver into pit lane. Trying to make out who that is. It's going to be 12th place of Audrex. So Audrex just not having a good race. And there's Joe Beardy head first into the wall. And PJ Dude having to make a rapid adjustment there to avoid him. Yikes. This is not our first time out at Rio de Janeiro. This is our first time, at least in the times that we've been broadcasting, seeing the Coast Loop circuit. But in the other time that we were out here at Rio, it was pretty chaotic. And we're seeing that happen here tonight. And it looks like Joe Beardy is still face first into the wall. He's waiting for things to clear up so that he can come back out of the hairpin. And it looks like maybe Joe's just going to park it there into that hairpin. He's had enough. He wants no more of this track, and Dino Dad Shadow saying, ouch. So Meza still in first. Cratrim now with nobody behind him. 3 lap traffic cars out in front. He's in second. Crimson in third. Slipstream in fourth. Soul Motion Fire now just coming out of the hairpin in fifth. Fear the Fun in sixth. Proud Beetle in seventh. Presto in eighth. Celtic Warrior in 9th, Fu-Tang 10th, PJ Dude back there in 11th, Live Weapon in 12th, Audrex in 13th, Joe Beardy in 14th. As we now have the camera on our race leader, looking for the next closest battle out here on the track. Let's go to Proud Beetle in 8th. THD Reckless, I love this. He says probably the best, worst track in the whole game, especially reverse. And here comes Proud Beetle looking to make a move on Presto. Proud Beetle told us in the pit lane earlier that out at Monza, he and Presto had a good race, and they're making it happen. It's come to fruition once again here at the Rio circuit. And they crossed the line for the beginning of lap number 33. Up to the hairpin. Oh, and Audrex just can't buy a break here tonight. He's got one headlamp remaining there on the front of the car. Looks like both the tail lamps are busted. So I think for a lot of these drivers, they're just thinking, hey, when is this race over? As Mesosphere crosses the line, the white flag flies for our race leader, Mesosphere. Let's go up to him. And, yeah, I'm going to take notes this time because, as I said, things get crazy once the cooldown lap happens. So let's go ahead and just take note of where everybody finishes now. Modern Weapon back behind Mesosphere, so Modern just trying to reclaim a lap, although they'll finish where they stand out here. They're not going to race this one back to the checkered flags. This final lap here on lap 34 for Meza is when everybody else will have their race come to a conclusion. Of course, those who are on the lead lap will go ahead and race it out. And there goes Meza. Across the line in first. Ratrium back there in second. One more right-hander or left-hander for him. Reckless says, I love Rio. You can take most of these turns so fast and then the hairpins get you. Of course, doing it 34 times is the trick. Doing it successfully 34 times. And look at that, Crimson coming across the line in third. Well done by Crimson, who found himself in a pit lane early on in the race, able to manage a top 3 finish, and it looks like Slipstream, who is there in fourth. Fifth is going to go to Slow. Great race by him, but again, not going to count here week 2 because this is likely to be his drop week. 6 appears to go to Fear the Fun. And I think that's where I'm going to make my last annotation. Well, I don't know if Presto actually finished in 7th or if Proud Beetle maybe finished before him, although I'm going to guess maybe that they're setting it up correctly here on the out of turn 1. So let's just say Presto is Besto in 7th. And everybody else, the organizers, go ahead and take note of it there. And as is always the case here in FM4, as soon as things have wrapped up here tonight, Slow Motion Fire will go into the official scorebook, put down all the points, and you'll know how things stand here in week number 2. Again, it's a drop week, so we may not have much shuffling on the leaderboard as it was coming into week number 2, but as we get closer to that final race in week 5, then that's when the full picture of what storylines we have and what drivers have got to do what to make their move. All of that will be realized a little bit later on, but week 2 could be very important for some drivers, especially those who managed to do okay here at Rio. Some drivers did fare okay. Mesosphere, he's done more than okay. He's got 4 wins in the bag here. And wouldn't you know, Mr. Fear the Fun, the master of practice ceremonies, is in our driver's spotlight. And as soon as I get things sorted out here on the broadcast, we'll go ahead and head on over there. What does it say? The affectionately known Master of Practice Ceremonies. Master of Practice Ceremonies. I'm going to go ahead and allow Fear to explain this to us. Mr. Big J Bishop, what's that all about?
Well, Slow gave me the title yesterday because he said he couldn't start practice today or the first race, and that Modern wasn't going to be on until about race time. So he appointed me Master of Practice.
And Slow was telling us a very distinguished title, a very exclusive title. So what are the perks that come along with this?
I get all the power. I get to tell people to go to the back, to the front, all that good, you know.
Fair enough. Well, speaking of telling people where to go, you were able to steer your own car there at Rio into a sixth place finish behind Slow Motion Fire. That was a pretty crazy race, huh?
Yeah. First, not even to the first corner, I got shoved out into the wall and took steering damage. Mm-hmm. Went and did 2 laps. I was like, I could probably limp it around with this, but I didn't want to. So I just went into the pits, came back out, and just put my nose to the grindstone as fast as I could. If I had another lap, Slow Motion would have been 6th.
Talking with Fear the Fun here in the driver's spotlight at the conclusion of week number 2 of season 30, and I'm kind of slowing down here a little bit because I noticed that again, we're having issues with the frames. The frames are falling out, but looks like we've regathered them, and we'll go ahead and wrap up this broadcast here tonight. So are you anticipating, Fear the Fun, that this is your drop week, or
no?
were you pretty happy, and might this stay on the book for you as we go through the remaining 3 weeks?
I think this is probably going to be one of my better weeks because last week I did absolutely terrible. I got disconnected from Nordschleife, and then I was second to last place, and I don't remember the other track.
That's right. Okay. Well, up ahead we have Laguna Seca and VIR. Your thoughts on that one?
Whichever it is, Laguna.
Laguna, that's good for you or no?
No, yeah, I'm sorry, you broke up. Laguna is one of my favorite tracks.
Laguna is one of your favorites, and then VIR, which I mentioned a little bit earlier, and I'm trying to recall who it was in the chat said that VIR is not too bad for you. You're going from a track that you like. What about VIR? Does that hold true for you there, or is that a love-hate relationship for week 3?
I don't know which VIR layout.
Looks like it's going to be the South Night circuit. The South Night.
Oh, no. Bad. Give me the full in daytime or even at night. I'm okay at it because I practiced it a lot when it first came out in Forza 5. But anything else, no. Bad.
Very good, very good. Well, Fear the Fun telling us that this may very well be one of his weeks that sticks in terms of points. We'll see how that all comes out when Slow Motion Fire does the point standings. But Fear the Fun, great chatting with you as always. Any words that you have for our audience? Anything that, of course, I'm going to bestow the power of maybe giving an extra little shout out here since you are the master of practice ceremonies. Anything that you want to say here before the wrap up of tonight?
If you guys are looking for a fun league, not a lot of, you don't have to practice over and over and over again. You just show up on Tuesdays. You want to have a good time, get maybe a little bit of competition in. RFM4 is where it's at. Slow Motion runs a great ship along with Modern Weapon. So if I give a shout out, it's going to be to them. They put on a great thing to run.
Yeah, kudos to Slow Motion Fire and Modern Weapon who stepped up here tonight to make things happen in the Forza Spec Racing Series. Fear the Fun, as I would expect. You did a great job there being an ambassador, welcoming folks into the series. Hopefully we'll get some more folks out there and maybe a full track for Laguna Seca and VIR in week number 3. We'll see you then.
Yes, sir. Have a good day.
You too. And before we close things up here tonight, let's go to our 4-time winner here in season 30. Back-to-back wins. Meza pretty much after lap number 1, maybe it was lap 2 if we're going to stretch it out there. It was seemingly pretty smooth sailing. I'm thinking that maybe you'll have a different opinion from your perspective there.
Yeah, actually the first 4 or 5 laps pretty hectic as I spent it mostly side by side with Crimson, as that man was quick around there.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I think it was in lap 6 or 7, he got a bad bounce going over the curbs through the just before the last corner, the chicane section, and he got a bad bounce and it jackknifed him into a wall. So he ended up with damage, and that left me with a very big lead. Twiddling my thumbs. Yeah, it was it got a bit dull there, so I started instead hot lapping, getting some clean laps just to try and keep myself focused. That's probably why Kracham was catching up, because he was taking the hopping over the curbs route, whereas I was actually going around them. I got my 51, so I'm happy. I beat my qualifying time. But, overall, it was just kind of trying anything to keep myself focused because it's nearly 3 in the morning here.
Yeah, very late there across the pond for Mesosphere, who comes away with the win here at Rio and the race prior to that out at Monza. And we've heard about first place problems there for Meza, who said he was twiddling his thumbs after about lap 6 there as Crimson fell off. Crimson was able to come back, able to manage a top 3 finish, quite a recovery there. So looking ahead, it looks like you're probably going to have to continue that battle with Crimson and Kraytrim and perhaps Funtang if he can get it together, and even Slipstream. So a lot of competition, but man, you're setting yourself up nicely here for a championship, your first in the Forza Spec Racing Series.
Well, that's the goal. I don't come here to come second or third. I'll be honest. I'm here to win if I can, but it's this season's going well for me. This week is actually looking at the calendar. I'm looking at the tracks. And I'm thinking, okay, I don't like those 2. Week 3 looks great. Week 4 with the airfield was a bit hit and miss. The other track, I can't remember which one it is now. Week 4, not too bad. Week 5, Yas Marina. That sounds good to me as well. I don't mind that track either. So I was thinking this track is probably going to be the drop. However, I've come out of it, I suppose, quite fortunate. Kept out of the walls. Much easier to do when you got a 15-second gap. You just make sure that each lap you're just hitting your marks and not pushing it, not risking it. There's no need. So, I came away with the 2 wins, and that means that the airfield weekend instead becomes the likely drop, because I don't have a racer there. So
he's calling his drop week, Mesosphere is, but if how things have been going up to this point hold true, every time he does this, he yields 100 points. And so if week 2 is your drop week, then that means you've done damn good, because to drop 100 points means you've squared away 100 in each of the following weeks. Mesosphere, it's always great chatting with you, folks. If you aren't following Mesosphere here on Twitch, be sure to do that for more racing content. And, of course, I think you do some painting on stream as well for folks who are obviously gobsmacked by how that's accomplished here by the artist of Forza Motorsport 7 and, of course, other racing titles and gaming titles. So make sure you give them a follow. Mesosphere, great racing here tonight. We'll see you in week 3.
Indeed. See you next week.
All right, folks, and that goes ahead. There we go. I was trying to drop Mesosphere back into the right lobby. That does it here for us in week number 2 of Forza Motorsport Spec Racing Series. Again, you can go over to reddit.com/r/FM4, and I encourage you to. That way you can, one, keep tabs with the points and who is where on the leaderboard. Of course, we'll refresh that for you heading into week number 3 at the beginning of the broadcast. And then also check out the rules, the very, I would say the guardrails here in FM4 are pretty well established in that they're not too serious. They're not too stringent in terms of what you got to do to participate. All you have to do is race clean. So if the action that you saw here tonight you think you want to be a part of, doesn't matter if you race fast, it doesn't matter if you're somewhere in between or you're somewhere at the back. Somebody has to finish first. Somebody has to finish last. You might as well see what kind of skill you've got up against these drivers out here that you saw tonight, that you saw in week 1, and, of course, those that we'll see here in week 3. And who knows? Maybe you'll prove yourself to be very competitive, and then heading into season number 31, make a run at the championship. What does that look like? What is the championship looking like heading into week number 5? Well, it's going to be Mesosphere, or heading into week number 3 for season 30. It looks like it's going to be Mesosphere heading into the top. Obviously, he'll be there with 100 points. They'll drop 100 for now, and it's going to be Crimson or Cratrium or any one of the drivers who have been right there on his heels here through these first 4 races to try to put an end to this winning streak that he has and bring some of those points down for him and make a run at that championship. But Mesosphere, like he said, he's here to win, and he wants that first championship in the Forza Spec Racing Series for himself. And so we'll see if he's going to be able to manage that. Lots of racing to go. We'll be out at Laguna Seca, Virginia International Raceway for week number 3. Don't miss it. Same time, same channel here on Twitch. Twitch.tv/Virtual Autosports, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. It's going to be what? 5 p.m. Or, excuse me, 7 p.m. Central, and then 5 p.m. Pacific time. So there you go. Same time, same channel, right here. And, of course, for those of you who might have missed a little bit of the action here tonight, we'll have it all running back on the replay immediately following the broadcast, so don't miss that. I know all of our drivers will be in there, or some of the drivers will be in there watching this back and seeing how everything looked on the broadcast. And, yes, I apologize for some of the skips and the frames that we've lost and some of the disconnects. Hopefully we'll get that all ironed out for week number 3. But until next time, you all have a great rest of the week as we head into the, 3rd weekend of October? Cruising right along up to that Halloween holiday. I'll take care. If you get any more Forza Racing action in, keep it safe, keep it fun, keep it clean. Adios and goodbye.